Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of Same Six Wednesday. So, this was Jamie's, our first one, and this was Tanya's, our second one. And I don't know what I was thinking or if I had figured out what I was doing, but there's been enough time lapse now that I can't remember the exact order. So I played around because I really want them all to be hinged, and I do want them back and forth. So they're not going to be in the order they were made. I don't know if I'd already figured that out or not. It's been a while. I've slept since then. So it's going to be like this. So we have 1. I got smart. Took a pencil. I wrote it lightly. I wrote it 2, a 3. This is 4, and 5, and 6. So now I should be able to do it. So we're going to be working on the back side of this one. So these are Lisa's things we got today. And we have this. And I know this has a name. Well, it looks kind of like carbon paper, but maybe it's one of those things from school when you do that. I'm not real sure. And a flashcard. No gift is poor if it expresses the true love of the giver. This pretty piece of ribbon. This cool vintage page with this beautiful stuff. But as I flipped it open, this is what caught my eye. And I think that's stunning. And it goes with this bag and this ribbon. All these colors look so good together. They just tie in. So we're going to get started on this. Do I have an idea? Absolutely not. I've looked at the things. I did pre-look at them, but no idea. No idea. So we're going to set these aside. This is our page. And of course we've got to cover the eyelets. So my first thought is that maybe the bag, because it's heavier and would cover better. Oh, look at that beautiful hummingbird. So let's go ahead and get this bag opened. I mean, it could easily have been a pocket, but it's, it's paper. And what do we do with paper? We put it on stuff. So I'm trying to find the right side that cut open. Right over here. And I'll get the big scissors so I can maybe at least get a part of a straight line. That's a lot of paper when you open it out. I think I'm going to cut this part off because it didn't come apart super smooth. Not that I'll throw it away because, you never know when you're going to need just that right amount of that color somewhere. So now, make sure we go the same directions. Got to have a hummingbird in there, That's just, I'm just going to do this so I can kind of get an idea. And then I have this. I love the flowers. Man, I like those flowers. This is real pretty too, but those flowers. So we're just going to go in there and I'm going to cut that part out right now. But I'm going to save some of this text because it might find its way in there too. The hard part about the same 6 is you want to use all of it. Well, I usually use I usually use all 6, but I feel so bad when I don't get to use every bit of the 6, I guess that just leaves us giddies. So we have this. We have eyelets over here. If we want to tie something on, we've got a 1/2 inch over here we need to stay away from. So let's not even pretend. Let's just put this on here. And I think I'll use some matte medium just because it's handy. Get me a little scraper. I don't really like using that. This stuff is too thin. So where is a brush when you need one? Yes, I'm constantly rearranging things in here, so nothing's ever in the same place. I hope everyone's having a wonderful day today. I'm sitting here trying to get this wrinkle out, and it's that string. I should know better. Okay, I'm going to let this dry, and I shall return here shortly. Okay, so this is dried well enough, and while it was drying, I kind of piddled around with some stuff. I kind of have an idea where I'm going to go. Well, I took the ribbon and cut it down, stitched around the edges of it, and I'm going to put a pocket in here, but I have to remember to stay away from that line where I fold it. So I'm going to put that there, and I'm going to guess that the Fabri-Tac is going to be my best bet. So yep, you see my messy stitches. The thread just balled up in there, the tails, so that's the way it turned out, and that's the way I'm leaving it. Plenty of glue on here. This stuff thickens up so quickly. It's not one of my most used glues. Okay, that ought to do. Just in case I need to have more, I'll leave it laying down. So I'm going to put this on like so. And I just happen to have handy a few clips. So let's just clip this up so it stays. If we have some that'll go all the way in there, maybe we will, and maybe we won't. Just barely. Doggone it. That's where it needs it the worst, but that's okay. We'll just hold it for a little bit. We'll just hold it right there. While I tell you what else I'm going to do, this is what I cut off of it. Haven't got a use for that yet. Still haven't figured out what I want to do with the picture. Now it's kind of too big, so I may have to go with the text because I have to use every part of this, right? So I think that's what we'll do. We'll just go with the text. I'm going to trim off this part. And I'm going to straighten this up. I'm going to tear it, but I don't want to tear that tiny. So, okay. I'm going to tear this into some strips. Still not sure where it's going, but I'm sure I'll find a good use for it. So, I love flashcards. I think they're so cool. So we're going to turn this into a notebook. And we have this paper that I'm sure had words or things kind of written on it. You can kind of see, but it's also really well lined, right? So I am going to fold it in half this way. And that's going to be the pages of my book. Perfect. So all I have to do is tear them or cut them, but I'm going to tear them. At the measurements to fit. I really like the edges this gives it. It's like wherever you tear it's got a little dark blue edge. So we could have 4 sets of pages, but we're going to save one of them. We can sit and look. I like that one. So we're going to save that one and put these together for our signature in our book. Voila. We'll tie that up here in just a minute. Let's get rid of this trashy part. So I'm going to tear this into some strips. I probably should have done this before I did the pocket. But hindsight's 20/20. Okie doke. So I want to use a little bit of this, and okay, now I know what I'm going to do. So these are probably well glued down, and I did have a little tear there when I cut it around the edges. So I am going to ink the edges. I'm using one that's for the browns, but it's just about to fall apart. So I'm going to go ahead and use it for the blues this time and then change it. Mostly because I didn't take the time to go look for another one. That pocket stays. That's why I'm not a big fan of doing back to back, but we're going to make it work. Okay, so we have the pocket, and we have this that's going to go in there. And then we're going to put these as decorations, embellishments. I think let's put a little ink on the edges of these, just so they blend in a little bit. Well, this one's going to have to be upside down because I like the way it's torn. So it's going to go on upside down. So let's grab a glue stick. And no auditioning here. We're just going to do it. It kind of camouflages that string right there, going right up next to it. And then let's put a little bit of this one in there. Can't cover the hummingbird too much. I'm not loving it, so who knows what we're going to end up with. So I said we were going to save this, but I figured out what I wanted to do with it. I'm going to cut this out, just this part. Peel this extra off if I can without tearing it. And I think I'm still going to need to cut it down smaller. I got to find my little word card. Everything is a mess here. There it is. There it is. See, I love that look. But I think it's still a little bit, I think we want to trim this too. So let's get the trimmer. Okay. So, knowing how I cut, we probably better cut this with the trimmer too. Still don't like this as much as I thought I would. Wonder if I could cut this down just a little bit. We're going to try to fussy cut this. Or we could fussy cut off of this. So let's do this first because I really like that image and maybe I can make this work. I have 2 blue roses and one of them is torn. So let's take this one. And we will cut it better there. And I think I want, I'm going to go with this one. All right. I'm sure you all know how to cut paper, so this is probably as boring as I'll get out. And yes, I'm not cutting exactly the same thing. I'm just making a flower out of the paper that's here. Whoops, cut a little too far, but that's okay. So there's a flower. And we'll cut this one. Gotta have one more thing because you have to do 3. And I think I'm going to go with this. That yellow one sure got a lot of the butterfly on it, so I hate to cut that much out. So let's do this one because I can tuck it under and still get that cluster of 3 little flowers. Okay, so we do something like that. Okay, I know, you're already telling me I need some green in there. Just a little bit. Okay, let's get out our trusty little glue stick and let's make this happen. My favorite part is almost camouflaged. The hummingbird. It's okay. I know it's there. So this fun little project has taken all kinds of skills. We have our cutting skills and our sewing skills and our measuring skills. Now I'm a floral designer. Just kidding. Okay, so we're gonna put a little bit of glue on this. Put it where I want it in the corner. And glue the whole thing down. I should have inked that. Doggone it. You know what? I'm not too worried about that one. But I can ink this really quick. And it's still sticky. Perfect. So I really, really like this. I got to finish the book. And I'm going to take this little pencil I have here, the carpenter's pencil, and You know, I've seen better days. And I'm going to just, let's take the book out, kind of go around these to give a little more definition. I'm not worrying about how straight or clean I am, or neat, I should say, because it's mostly for just a little bit of shadow. And these do here, flowers do kind of, you know, come into the crack almost. This one does, but it's okay because it's still really going to be all right. It's going to look good. So we'll smudge this to get a little shading effect. Make them stand out on the page just a little bit more. There we go. Much better. Like it, like it, like it, like it. So I am going to stitch this, and I just happen to have some blue in my needle that sits there all the time. It's from a 3-ply, but I separate it and use it for some different things. But it'll work for this. It's not like this book's going to be handed down for ages and ages. And now I need to repoke all my holes because I slipped. And because this is a pretty thin thread, I'm going to go ahead and come back through those again. Give it a little more stability. There's my little book. I think we want to see at least one of the numbers show through. So let's ink the edges of this. A darker blue might have been better, but this is the blue I have. I don't do much blue, so this will have to work. So there we go. Now I could decorate the cover of the book if I wanted to, but I kind of like seeing the 8 there. I could cut little images out of our paper bag, or I could, you know, put this one on there if I wanted to. Or maybe on the inside, which might be exactly what it needs. Not that anybody would ever see it, but just so that I can use it in this book. Because I could, yeah, that's where it's going to go. So, I have used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and of the blue paper in here and in here is 6. So I've used all 6 items. And this is still hollering at me. You know that, right? So I don't know if this is going to work, but I can always put it in the book. And I'm just going to fussy cut this slightly. I'm not even doing a very good job. I would definitely want to cut it better. Yeah. So we get to find out if this is going to adhere to the ribbon. So I'm going to go ahead and pause this and finish brushy cut in this, and I will glue it on and see what it looks like. So I used that medium, and it adhered to here. It's still a little damp, but I used the heat gun on it so it would dry better, and I think that adds a lot. It's darker than the rest of it, but I'm okay with that. I like that. And I've decided I'd had to put that little hummingbird on there because the other one kind of is covered up there. So I'm very happy with that. I think it turned out very well, and I just love the items in here. Thank you so much, Lisa. And I will see you all next month. Bye-bye.